And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the One to Go Show. It is Puka, once again joined by Ryan Aho, and the One to Go Show is once again presented by Dirt Track Supply and the home of the Aero Chassis. Of course, Ryan, any Aero Chassis in Victory Lane this past weekend?
There was actually. I talked to Trevor. He said there's a USRA guy. Sorry, I forgot his name. It's USRA. I don't keep track on that much, but they had a modified in Victory Lane. In Jeremy Castro, a street stock guy out west. Hell of a battle out there. Him, Craver, Petrov. There's three of them that are just heavy hitters out in Montana, Wyoming area, but he got two of them here this weekend. So Aero Chassis and Victory Lane out west.
Absolutely. So episode 85, as we've been doing, kind of naming a, former racer or current racer, number 85. Who you got?
I got old Grumpy himself, Larry Peterlin.
Oh, really? He was 85, huh?
Larry Peterlin, yeah. There's a guy who's been around racing a long time, actually done quite a bit for the sport. He raced, and I don't know if you remember back in the day, I think it was Seeley, I think that was a brother-in-law that was 84. He was 85. Jack Haugen was 86. Yes. And those three kind of traveled together. Then he had, I remember the red and blue car that he had, and he ran supers for quite a while. I remember him going up to Thunder Bay, and I remember him being around Hibbing. Of course, his kid has won a ton of races. Kyle Peterlin, hell of a race car driver. The whole Peterlin family, of course, Carol passed away, but Cobb Cook Grocery, they sponsored a ton of cars. So that's the Peterlin family.
Right.
Larry, he served on the board at the Hibbing Raceway and, really did a lot over there. So I just, I've known Larry, I've known the Peterlin family for a long time. But when I think 85, I think Larry Peterlin. Who do you got?
Yeah. Wow, the sheriff. I mean, that's the 85 in my mind. So you remember where I lived there in Chisholm, across the street from the Scottwood Motel. Him and Dwayne Mader used to stay over there. The 85 Napa car was one of the cars, and we'd bike over, the whole 2 blocks. And so, of course, open trailers back then, so kids could actually enjoy that stuff.
I'm going to see if I can dig up a picture, because I have a picture of Kanta working on his car at that very hotel that you're talking about. So I have that. I remember that right behind the old Bronson Super Duper there.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. So
yep.
I do have that. That's, I think, probably what made me a John Kanta fan. Obviously, he's good, right? Yeah. But the fact that he stayed in the Chisholm Hotel and we could actually go visit with him over there, that was pretty cool.
That's right. And that Napa, he had that Napa sponsorship for, 15, 20 years?
And he's still blue and yellow.
He's still blue and yellow.
He's still blue and yellow, yeah. And that's what I think. I think I kind of went blue and yellow because I really liked the look of the 85 car, and I think that's, because I kind of had a similar look there in the super stocks. Yeah, and he had a good weekend, actually. Pretty solid weekend, just a little bit short, but man, he's got to be due. No wins yet this year for the 85, but he's been there all year, and I thought he was going to have one. I really thought he was going to have one Saturday night. I'm still a little bit bitter about that one.
Well, he deserved one in Aberdeen and the flat tire.
2 flat tires in that.
2 flat? Is that what it's 2 flat?
Yeah. He had a flat, came out, another flat. It's like, just terrible luck there. But one of the class acts in racing, he's helped a lot of people. Just super laid back. He'll tell you how it is, but he's pretty laid back about it. Handles his business very well, and one of the smoothest drivers I've ever seen in a dirt late model.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to kick her off the sprint cars tonight. Get going on some big news, finally.
Yeah, Keith, this is for you, all right? We got to start with sprint cars. Donnie Schatz finally got it done. And I got to be honest, I didn't think it was going to happen, right? I really did not. I mean, I watched the race. He's in third. And do you want to kind of touch on what happened there, or do you want me to? Or
Yeah, I do that because I have a little story that relates to it.
Okay. So needless to say, I don't remember the drivers. I don't have it written down, but first and second got flat tires, right? So next thing you know, he inherits the lead, and then there's a rollover, right? And then a little bit later, Kyle Larson jumps the tire down on the bottom on a restart. He gets together with Jacob Allen. They both get upside down sideways. And then another thing, Macedo jumped the tire. I think Gravel's one got the flat early, and Reitzel, both of them two got flats.
Yeah, Gravel and Reitzel, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and then Macedo jumped the tire. He kept going. And then Schatz gets out to a lead. I'm like, finally, he's going to get 300 down the back straightaway into turn 3, yellow. I'm like, are you serious? You have got to be kidding me. Like, this guy here has been so close all year long, and just stupid stuff happens. And I'm like, here we go again. Like, literally somebody's going to get by him, and he got a great restart and drove off. And I thought it was super cool. You know, mom and dad were there, and he was emotional, right?
Very much so. Were you surprised at that?
Yeah, I was,
too.
you know, because he's kind of a guy's guy. I don't think he likes to show much emotion, but you know, he kind of changed the tune later. But you could tell, you know, he kind of got a little choked up, like, man. And he's like, I don't remember how many races we're in, like 32 or some crazy number. Like, we're way into the season, and Donnie Schatz's winless. Now, he's been there. He's been top 3, top 5 all year long. He's been really good, but he's never gone that long without a win. And, you know, they're talking about how big the win. And he's like, wait a second here. Like, you're talking like I'm done. I'm not done. I'm still racing. That, yeah. Like, what are you talking? What are we, like, settle down here? What are we talking about? Yeah, 300 is cool, but this ain't like I'm retiring or whatever. Like, and he even mentioned, he goes, I got to be honest, I kind of been waiting for that call from Tony going, maybe they're going to replace me with some young buck or whatever. I haven't got the call yet, you know, but he's been close, and you can tell that I think it's been weighing on him. Now let's see if he can maybe string a few together. This would be a week to do it. There's a lot of money on the line for the sprint cars this week.
Yeah, big time. Well, that's the story. So you and I personally talked about Don Cherry a couple of weeks ago. So for those of you that are not hockey fans, Don Cherry is, would you call it, Ryan, maybe like the godfather of hockey in Canada? Does commentary, Hockey Night in Canada every week.
I think if you attribute it to the World Wrestling Federation, you had the mouth of the South, and he's the mouth of the North. Right?
There you go. There you go.
He said how it was. He said how it was. Incidentally, Puka, didn't you call out shots? Pete mentioned that. Didn't you call out shots last week saying, I think his time's done. He probably ain't going to win anymore.
Yeah, well, what I said, I said he's kind of that 80-20 rule. I said, gosh, he's falling out. And I said, hopefully, and I said, we still have plenty of time for him to prove that he's still in that 20%, and maybe he'll get on a roll. Now, that relates to my story here with Don Cherry. So about 7-8 years ago, the NHL decided for their All-Star game, we're gonna pick them. We're gonna do a live draft on the ice. And he said, don't do it, because you're gonna embarrass somebody. Somebody has to be the last pick. So the last pick ends up being one of our very own, a Golden Gopher. His name's Phil Kessel. Came out of Madison, played 1 year for the Gophers, total stud. Well, obviously he's in NHL. Goes to Toronto. So he's the last pick. So they play the All-Star game and everything. So the next Saturday, Don Cherry's on Hockey Night in Canada again, and he says, this guy's going to be in a slump, and it's going to take some luck for him to come out of it, and he ripped the NHL for the dumb move. Well, the next week, Phil Kessel's literally standing in front of the net with a stick like this. The puck bounces off the goalie, hits the shaft of his stick, and goes in. He gets the lucky goal. From there on, he goes on a roll. So Don Cherry is right. So same thing with Donnie now. I mean, he got lucky, right? Reitzel gets a flat tire. Then on the caution laps, as they're waiting for Reitzel to come out because he gets the courtesy laps, Gravel gets a flat tire or whatever. It could have been vice versa, whoever.
Right.
So then he inherits the lead, you know, and he gets number 300 after 39 races, I think is what they said. So here we go, 300, and I got the stats here. He's in that exclusive club, only 3 races over 300 wins. Steve Kinser at an amazing 690. Sammy Swindell, 394, and now Donnie Schatz at 300. So, like I said, let's hope Donnie moves himself. As a matter of fact, he just at Husitz here for the Husitz 50. He was fast time in the second group. So let's see if he can keep it rolling.
He's not going to catch Steve Kinser. Okay, I'm going to go on the record. I'm going to say that's not happening now. It's not likely because he's at that point in his career, but it's possible that if he races a few more years here, he could catch, Sammy Swindell. 94 wins, it might take a little while to get that done. The competition has gotten pretty stout again in the world of outlaws, but Steve Kinser, 600 and how many?
690. I was stunned that he's almost, it's crazy. So, yeah, I did not realize he was that far ahead of everybody else, but that's why they call him a king.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, when you think sprint car racing, or when I do, it's Steve Kinser. Period. End of discussion. It's kind of like the late model discussion. Is it Moyer? Is it Bloomquist? Who is it, right? Here it's without a doubt, it's Steve Kinser. And then I think I'd probably put, even though Swindell has more wins, I think I'd put Schatz ahead of him because I think he has more titles.
Yeah, I think so. And I think he has more Knoxville wins too. So for you fans out there, this is a great chance. Many of you have great Donnie Schatz moments or wins or victories. Share your story. Comment on here. We like the little thread going. Let's give Donnie what he deserves. Let's give him some attention. Let's throw some stories out there and see what you all got. Because like Ryan just said, he's had an illustrious career.
Absolutely. And it's just awesome. I mean, that's our guy. He's a Wissota guy, right? And now he's obviously in the world of outlaws. So seeing a Northern guy get that done, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah. So what do you got next?
All right, we're going to move on to the national late model scene. Lucas, we had some rain, some weather, some changes in the schedule there.
Well, they moved it up a day, right? They were supposed to run Thursday, Friday. I think they were like 6 or 10 grand to win or whatever they were. And then it was 5 grand to win maybe both nights. And then I think it was 15 or 20 or something like that for the clash at the Nag. But they moved it up a whole night. And I picked Jimmy Owens. I said, that's my lock. He's going to win. And he would have if Jonathan Davenport wouldn't have showed up, right? So Davenport got it done. Basically a pretty easy win, but Owens got second, so he ran good. Honestly, I mean, I watched the race, kind of a snoozer. I really haven't seen a good race there. Blacktop to bottom seems to lock down on the bottom every single time. And I look at some of the racetracks. I've watched a lot of racing. We got some pretty darn good racetracks up there and up here in northern Minnesota, Wisconsin. And some of the races that they go to for World of Outlaws and Lucas, it's like, there ain't nothing special about some of these tracks, and that's one of them for sure.
Yeah, well, that's what they said. They said Davenport led every lap in both races but one lap. So there you go. So I didn't catch any of it, so I have no further commentary.
Right. Yeah, it was very uneventful. We'll jump onto the World of Outlaws. This one was kind of cool, though, up at State Line. Dave Hess, he got it done, and Bert actually mentioned, he goes, Strickler's off the tour. One of you two mentioned that in our text feed. So Strickler didn't show up, so he's out. So that leaves him with, 8, 9 cars. And you think about it, it's like the field's not real strong. Let's be honest. In the World of Outlaw late models, it's pretty weak. The followers is pretty weak. And Brandon Shepard still can't win. It's like, what is the deal, dude? He's having a tough year. I've heard some rumors about, maybe he's leaving Rocket or whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of different stuff going around. I wouldn't blame them right now because they're struggling, but you would think that they'll find something at some point. I mean, there's too much knowledge there to be in a slump this long, but pretty cool to see Dave Hess get it in victory lane. Yeah. He's got 2 World of Outlaw wins now, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Yeah, this is it. And the other stat here, 17 winners in 22 races, the World of Outlaws so far this year. So you're talking about that parity. Now, we also talked about Bishop. He still is leading points by 52 over Madden. So he still is your point leader. Like you said, he's kind of like we talked about Schatz. He's kind of been there, but we're just used to, what is that, 10-plus Woo wins for the last, 3-4 years?
And Madden missed tonight.
Oh, Madden missed tonight. Okay.
Yeah, because he was down in Florida. He missed the night down there because he didn't make it in. He didn't have a provisional. So he didn't get feature points one night because he didn't have the provisional because he didn't sign his agreement or his contract with World of Outlaws to be one of the featured drivers. He didn't sign that, and then he quickly did after that. So he missed the night. Otherwise, he might be leading that deal if he would have done that. But he's still in the hunt for sure. Yeah. Now, Jeff actually he shot over some stuff for me for the Hell Tour. Did you watch any of that this week?
I did. Yes, I watched. Was it Tuesday, Wednesday? Did they rain out Thursday? Then maybe I caught some Friday.
They rained out on Sunday. Sunday. Okay. So yeah, the winners so far: Pierce won the first 2. Devin Moran, Tanner English, Shannon Babb. Babb won at Fairbury. That was a good race. And then it rained out on Sunday. Now, here's the deal. So several people following it, and I know Pierce said, I'm not sure if I'm going to follow the whole thing, but I think they take 31 out of 36 races. I'm looking to see if he has that in the notes. He doesn't. But I think they have 5 throwaways. So he said he's going to miss a couple shows in there, but he's planning on hitting all of them. And, it's been good. I mean, Fairbury is Fairbury. I mean, that place was incredible.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, Pierce put it up on the cushion there. Ashton Winger's there. I was kind of surprised to see him there. And he I don't remember what night it was. I'll see if I can find the video. Did you see on that restart when he did, I think it was maybe at Granite City, he did I call it the Bobby Pierce restart. Did you see that? He's running like 6th or 7th in this deal, and they're all single file on the bottom on the restart. In the middle of 3 and 4, he just turns to the right, stands on the gas on the cushion like he's going to try to get a run. Like, I'd never see that work, right? You're like losing all that ground. What are you doing? And he drives right into the front straightaway wall. It's like literally nobody around him. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Just get in line. And come on. So hopefully that guy can work for him. He's up on the pump, though. He's another guy, super hard charger. He wrecks a lot of stuff. And I know, speaking of wrecking stuff, who's that dude from Wisconsin, McGrath?
Oh, number 74?
Yeah, he pounded the wall time trials and kept going one night, and he got in the fence a couple of times. He's a hard charger. So, I mean, he actually is pretty quick. He's got some speed underneath him. Let's see if he can maybe get a couple good finishes. I don't know if he's going to run the whole tour or not.
No, yeah, it sounds like he is, because I heard Ruben talking about that. And the difference with, so I think it was the first night to talk about Paul Parker. They go through Paul really quick. Then they go to Mitch McGrath. Only following the whole series. They name every single sponsor on his car. So that's the difference of being a regular and being a guy that's going to show up once in a while. And as we're talking about this, and I took some notes while I was watching it, we just talked about the World of Outlaws sprint cars, and it just seems like the closest thing to late models being sprint cars is this Hell Tour, because the tracks are a little smaller. It's 40 laps. They run into lap traffic fast. It's real exciting. You know what I mean? There's like you said, I mean, look at Fairbury, even all those tracks though last week where, there's some on the cushion, there's some on the bottom. Like I said, they're slicing and dicing through lap traffic. It's good.
It is. And one thing I noticed about this whole area, the Illinois region, they water the racetrack, right? That helps, right? They got this thing called a cushion where you can lay the right rear tire on it. It's pretty cool. It's a lot better than marbles up on the high side. I mean, the Hell Tour is one of my favorite times of year. I mean, it's like watching the NCAA basketball tournament.
Right.
Because that's basketball, right? But so this week here, LaSalle, Spoon River, Sycamore, Peevely, and Jacksonville this week. Them are all little bull rings as well. Pierce is leading the points, and they have a weekly point deal too, where you get every week it's a $2,000 bonus to the person who had the best individual week. And that was
really
Pierce.
Wow.
Yep. So they got a lot of money on the line for this deal. And another unique deal about the Hell Tour is their tire rule, right? So a lot of these open stuff, World of Outlaw, Lucas, I mean, it's a big tire game. I mean, they'll put new tires on for qualifying, for the heat, for the feature, everything, right? Here, you get 5 tires. You get 4 tires and an extra right rear. They mark them all at qualifying. That's the tires you get for the whole night. That's it. Period. Done. That's it. If you need any more than that, you have to start tail end. Right?
Wow.
So that is super cool because it at least attempts to keep the cost down. Now, don't get me wrong, they all put new tires on every night, but that's a lot better than putting 2 or 3 sets on in a night, I can tell you that much. So hats off to UMP and Dirt Car there for kind of creative thinking. I think that's a pretty good idea. And they have modifieds there as well. Nick Hoffman, he's been the show. 5
domination
for 5. I mean, it's not even a race. I mean, he's flat out just killing everybody. So pretty good stuff going on over at the Hell Tour. I'm excited. It starts up Wednesday. Talk about that in a little bit, but I'm going to LaSalle on Wednesday, so I'm pretty excited about that. So with that said, I'm going to jump back down here.
Let's move on to the Masters. Now, unfortunately for the Masters, remember, for the Masters for several years was the kickoff of the Hell Tour. It was the first 2 nights. And then the formula just didn't. I mean, they were doing some sprints and, I mean, we've talked about this, I think, last year. The Masters has changed. The format has changed. It used to be invite when the Crooks had it, late 90s, invite only. You had to qualify through different races, 50,000. I think they had 50 or 51,000. I think they were second to the World 100 only. And I remember there were sprints involved and stuff. Well, now I think they've kind of, was this the 3rd year or 4th year where they're, because this is a few years ago with mods only. Yeah. It was a big 50,000 win mod race, but now I think they've kind of settled in on their format a little bit. But 22nd annual?
I'm not sure what annual it was, but I'll say that overall it was a pretty good show. I mean, they had good car count. They had 60 some mods. I think did they hit 40 for the late models?
Well, they were doing 3 heats, so it was better than the Legendary, I guess.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. They had good car count there. The racing was good. The features were all mostly entertaining. There's a couple that were not real good. The last night was incredible. The features on the last night were the mods and the limited late models were a debacle the third night. I mean, that was
parking lot on the backstretch.
Oh man, right? Now with the no fault caution rule, do they put them all in the back? Is that how? I mean, I'm not really sure how that worked. Did they pay attention? But the modifieds and the late models was really good. And, why don't you go talk about a little bit what you have? I have some stuff. Give a recap on what you got. I'll fill in the blanks. And then of course, we got some drama that I think needs to be addressed here.
Well, yeah, I just, Jakey was fast. Radetzky got wins on the first 2 nights. Ramirez looked good. Demo looked good. And, for as little as Demo races that mod, pretty impressive.
Yeah, he dominated night 2. Just drove right through the middle of the black and just drove.
Yeah, it's just kind of amazing. And my question to you is, what do you think these guys think about coming here? Obviously, it's Cedar Lake, got a great track, nice facility. Now we got some concrete in the pits, but they know they have to race against Demel and Jimmy Mars in their home track. Do you think that gets in their head at all a little bit? It's like, gosh, we got to go to Cedar Lake. We got 3 nights, and here's these spoilers. And maybe they've got other places to go, and there's lots of spoilers. I don't know because I don't follow the USMTS like you do. What do you think these guys are thinking?
You know what? I think the elite out there, your Rodney Sanders, your Jake O'Neill, those kind of guys, it's just another race. I mean, they're used to going to big events and having a ton of competition. If there's a few more guys that come in the mix, they're like, it's just another guy, and don't get me wrong, because Demel, I don't think he made the show the third night, right? So, I mean, That just goes to show how solid the competition is. You win one night, you're not even in the next night, right? So I mean, extremely solid, but I don't think that really plays into their head too terribly much. I mean, these guys are professionals. It's what they do. I mean, they're at the top of their game. And Jake O'Neill, I mean, he on the third night, he was gone. Buzzy looked good early, and it seemed like all the Wissota cars, I don't know if they were on gas or methanol, but they kind of faded a little bit. I'm not sure what the deal was there. The cream really rose to the top there on the third night, where all the USMTS guys just kind of drove right to the front. Yeah. And, I mean, it was a really good race. So, looking at that, so you talked about Radetzky. He got a pair of wins, and he got a 6th place on the finale. Another guy, we've been talking in the power rankings about Nick Anvilink, who he got a raw deal on night 2. Mars got in the back of him in the heat. He got turned around. He got put to the back because of the no-fault deal. We'll touch a little bit more on that soon. But the fact is, on the third night, he started 9th and got 3rd. He got up on the podium. Right. So that's a great run for Nick. Justin Ritchie was there the first 2 nights, and then he went to the racing for track points at Plymouth. And he actually got 6th the first night. In the second night, he started like 22nd and got 12th. So Justin Ritchie had 2 really good races over there as well. So the Eastern Wisconsin guys kind of represented pretty well the ones that came over. And,
he's had some good runs in Cedar Lake in the past. Because I remember when he was in a crate, I don't know, several years ago, he made the Legendary. And it was big news. I think he might have won a heat with a crate. Right. This was like when crates were fairly new, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So, yeah, he knows how to get around Cedar Lake.
Yeah, and he's been in a slump as of late. He won a few early, Richie did, and then all of a sudden he's just not been running real good. So he came over there, ran good. He didn't do very good at Plymouth. I'm not sure what happened. The results weren't very good. But good to see that. Massengill's a guy we've been really following, and he just had a rough week. I know I talked to Brett, and he said one night they stripped out or they wrecked something in the rear end gears. I think it was a spool in the rear end, so that was a DNF. And then he sent me a picture. They broke a lift bar. I think that was on Saturday. So just a couple bad nights. Now, the first night, Massengill got 3rd in his heat, and I'm like, he kind of looks good because he was right on 1st and 2nd. And then that's about the most he shined over the whole weekend.
Okay. So Jimmy Mars with a little redemption. We talked about this in last week's show.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because last year he led, and they had that big tack ringer on the bottom. Last year's track for the finale was garbage, and just a big tack ring down low. And he was trying to probably stay out of the chop a little bit, and Hannestead drove by him on the bottom. And it's like, looking back at that, he had to have been going, I should have just went down on the tack. What the hell was I thinking? And then on Saturday night, he was kind of running there. It looked like he was going to get 2nd, 3rd. It looked like he was going to do okay. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy Mars went to the top, and Jimmy Mars don't run the top. He's usually on the bottom. And he just put another gear in it. And he literally was gaining like a half a second a lap on Kanta and stole one from the Sheriff coming off of turn 4. It's painful for me. I'm a big John Kanta fan. I really wanted him to win that one. And Jimmy nipped him at the line. Nonetheless, it was exciting. The crowd got a hell of a show.
Oh yeah, inches, and that was my pick. That was my one guaranteed pick.
My pick was AJ Demel, and he did not get it done. Now, all right, the elephant in the room is this, right? Because if we're talking about Mars, let's just dig into it. Friday night, okay? Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm giving out 2 donkey awards right now for the jackasses of the weekend. And one of them went to Jimmy Mars, and one goes to the Cedar Lake Speedway for having their stupid no-fault caution stuff, okay? Now, you as a fan, I'm going to give you my perspective as a driver, okay? But I want your perspective as a fan when let's face it, the 28 dumped the 7X, right, on Friday night.
Yeah.
When you initially saw that to what you know now, What was your initial thoughts, and kind of give me your feelings on that deal?
Perfect. You set me up perfect. And I'll set you up next. In the heat race, let's go back to the heat. You were talking about Nick Amblink earlier, and I've watched it several times. And even my brother is like, well, did Nick come in a little hot? And Jimmy just kind of rubbed him. And, I mean, hey, they're going fast, heat race, whatever. Kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. Then the feature comes out. Let me set this up for you fans. Of course, you've heard of this guy, our driver of the year last year, Jesse Glenz. He likes to rip around the top up there. I don't know how many laps in were they? 5, 7, 10?
It wasn't a ton. I don't think they were halfway yet.
Yeah, and along the backstretch, here comes Jesse Glenn, passes Jimmy Mars. They go through 3 and 4, and all of a sudden an abrupt right-hand turn into Jesse Glenn spins. Now, my initial thought as a non-racer, as a fan, something that we've talked about over the past couple of years is that I don't even think we ever talked about when you were racing this, what do you call it? The front end getting caught. What do you call it? Where it gets caught up underneath or whatever, folds over, whatever.
The nose roll?
The nose rolls over. That's what you call it. So I thought, well, geez, did he get up there in his nose? Because it was so abrupt. Like, did his nose roll over? But then he was able to catch it. So, of course, Glenn's goes. It's a no fault. Glenn's to the back. That's what I saw. Ryan Aho, what did you see in this deal?
So initially when I saw it, I'm like, well, the cushion, a couple people hit it, and the car shoved a little bit. When I initially saw it, I'm like, Jesse's in an MB. He runs an MB mod. I mean, there's no way Jimmy Mars dumped him on purpose. I mean, he somehow picked up a push and got into the 7X, turned him around.
Yeah, because it was abrupt. It was very abrupt. I mean, because it was not like he barely went. He went like
right.
Maybe we can show it.
Yeah, we'll show it. We'll play it multiple times here. Okay, and when I saw that, I'm like, it looked bad. As a casual fan, if I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, he did that on purpose. But then thinking back as a racer, I'm like, he ain't gonna do that on purpose. There's absolutely no way. He's not gonna take out a guy that runs his equipment. There's just no way he ain't gonna do it, right? Well, let's just say that we learned more from this, right? So our sources, we have several sources, and I think this is pretty public knowledge by now. The 28 intentionally dumped the 7X. It was on purpose. Lovers quarrel. I'm not sure what the deal is. Okay, I don't know all the backstory. I do know this is sources say that the 28 is sick of the 7X slide job enough. Okay, now, let's face it, the 7X chucks some sliders. And I love watching it. It's entertaining racing. Take sliders away from dirt track racing. We might as well watch NASCAR every single night. Not interested in doing it, right? When you get a track that's, top dominant, you want to see passing, it's going to be slide jobs, right? We've all done slide jobs. Jimmy Mars has done slide jobs. I guarantee every single one of us have used somebody up on a slide job. Sometimes it happens. I watch Jesse. I think usually when he slides somebody, he's cleared them by a mile. Is there some close ones? I'm sure. When you're throwing sliders, there is. Sprint car racing, there's close ones all the time. Now, if he's upset about a slide job, and it may be more than that, I don't have all the information on what their backstory lovers quarrel is here. I don't know, okay? But the fact is this. If he's upset about just sliders in general and close sliders, he may want to think about the fact of who his customers are. Because one of his top customers is like the biggest slide job king in the whole area, Jake Tim. And he's highly entertaining to watch. In the mod and in the late, that guy's chucking sliders nonstop. Dustin Sorensen, he chucked a slider to win a heat race, right? Buzzy Adams is amazing at slide jobs. So that's just a thing. Now, I got a question for you. You're a business guy. You're a capitalist. Let me ask you this. If Jake Tim threw a slider and maybe it was an ugly one or connected or whatever, right? They spend a lot of money, the Tims do, over at MB Customs. Do you think that Jimmy Mars would go, they're really high-paying customers, I'm not going to do something stupid and dump them? Do you think the fact that Jesse Glenz is in a 4 or 5-year-old car, he's like, screw it, he don't really spend a lot of money here, so I'll just do whatever I want? Do you think that played maybe part into it?
Well, that's okay. Is he jealous that Glenn's is winning all these races? He doesn't have a double stack collar. He pulls his thing in a
4 or 5-year-old car, right? It's not even
a 5-year-old car with a enclosed trailer, and he pulls it with a Dodge pickup. As our sources, as things got richer, as far as it seems like it was intentional, it's just puzzling because let's face it, Jesse Glenz for our area, he's like the cream of the crop. I mean, he had to have sold some cars for Mars race cars over the winter. Like Houston's a few weeks ago, like heard Glenn's was going there. When I flipped it on, all I was cared about is where is Glenn's? How do you do in the heat? I turned it on late. It's like, where was Glenn's? How's he doing? Where's he starting? You know, I mean, he's exciting. And speaking of slide jobs, that was not a slide job. He went around him on the outside in this case.
Right. And from what I understand, there was a feud happened before this, and I don't know the whole backstory. So have I dumped somebody on purpose in all my years of racing? Yep, I have. There's no question about it. I've done it a time or two. You know, in fact, I remember a guy that I raced with in Super Stocks, and he drove over me a couple nights in a row. And I literally warned him. I said, I'm telling you, you do it again, I'm wrecking you. And I did. And his car owner told him, he says, well, yeah, you fuck with the bull, you get the horn. And he did, and he didn't do it again, right? So there, I've done it, right? I get it. I get the competitive side. Now, on a business aspect, though, yeah, I think a guy's got to be smarter than that, right? Now, I don't condone dumping somebody on purpose. No, that's BS. I do. Especially at Cedar Lake, right? Because they don't have any rules there. You can do whatever you want. We're going to get to that in a second, okay? But on a business side of things, we talked last week about should a promoter be racing at his track, right? So, you know, and we had several examples of promoters that race at their tracks, and some handle their business well, and some are hotheads that can get pretty ugly. Well, Jimmy, right? Mars Racing, MB Customs is the number one manufacturer of race cars in the whole area by a long shot, right? So obviously in a mod and a late, he's going to be racing against a lot of his customers, a lot of people that he, you know, and this is a deal right here where, you know, I know for a fact that there's customers of his that said, look, we're done. We're done. I saw online, somebody says, I'm selling all my MB stuff. I'm out. This guy here, I sponsored Jesse. He's a friend of mine. I'm out. I'm not interested in being part of that deal. You know, so you start smashing up on people that are paying you for your service. I get it. People, cooler heads sometimes don't prevail in racing. I get it, but sometimes you got to be smarter than that.
But this wasn't even a cooler heads moment. You know, that's the thing. It's not like they were.
It was premeditated.
Shoved them in the wall. It was just like he went around him, clean. I mean, that's what's so peculiar about it. It's not like there was nothing going on, unless, like you said, there was some backstory which we don't know.
Right.
But
right.
I mean.
And so, yeah, like you said, it's not like he came in and just land blasted him and all of a sudden he came in the next corner and he got him back. I mean, that didn't happen. So whatever's been going on has been brewing inside for a little while. And it's like, if you're thinking about that when you're racing, that's like, so, you know, what would have happened if you would have dumped him, right? And all of a sudden 3 cars drove into him, somebody gets hurt, wreck a bunch of race cars. Is he go, oh, well, I did it on purpose. I was mad at him. Like, I'd like to see him. Well, in fact, he kind of did have some scuffles with your legendary, you know, hero Tom Nesbitt. I feel like Tom Nesbitt maybe. Rumors have it, sources have it that Nesbitt maybe punched him at Cedar Lake, right? So, you know, so maybe a little wrestling there, right? So that's I heard sources that said that. So you do that to the wrong person. Well, let's face it, Jesse's not a huge big guy, but you start dumping people on purpose, somebody's going to get pissed. Right. And, you know, maybe he don't care. Right. I don't know. I mean, that's their deal. They can deal
and
with
a former employee. I mean, he used to work there. Right. I mean, it's odd. Just like this whole thing is so, like you said, you saw it. There's no way he did it on purpose. Like I said, I thought the nose rolled under and that was it. And then sources say, and then, I mean, like I said, and the sources and the information kept getting richer and richer and richer as we kept hearing things.
Right. Now, the next question is this. Okay. If they were at a track that didn't have a no-fault caution rule, would he have done that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because here you just dump the guy, you keep going, you get your spot back. See, this is where Cedar Lake gets the donkey award for sure, because I feel like that's a big part of what happened here. Like, I talked to several drivers, they're like, we've been saying at the pit meetings for all year long, we want to get rid of this deal. And they're like, nope, that's the way it is. So what I recommend, right, is that on your way home, you just follow one of the track promoters home, run them in the ditch. just literally drive them right in the ditch, and then wave to them on the way by and say, you stop, not my problem, not my fault, okay? How would that, if a cop's behind you and you literally run the track promoter of Cedar Lake Speedway in the ditch, right, run them right down into the trees, is the cop going to go, well, they stopped, you're free to go? Or are they going to pull you over and say, dude, like, literally, what are you thinking? You're going to jail. You're losing your license. What's going to happen there? that's kind of the rules they have at Cedar Lake. I mean, it's okay for them to have rules for the racers because none of them ever raced, right? They don't care. They're like, oh, don't bother us. We don't have to have balls. We don't have to make a call. We'll just do it whatever it wants. If I was a racer, right, and if I was passionate about this rule, what I would recommend is every single racer that's passionate about this rule, they just pull into the Cedar Lake Speedway on Saturday. They park their cars out front on the road, and they literally sit there and they block traffic until they change the rule. Just boycott. Just get it done, because that rule, there ain't one person. I've heard people say, and these are all stupid people, right? Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, if you think this rule's a good idea, you're stupid. I don't know any other way to put it. You're just an idiot. Okay. Oh, World of Outlaws has it. Well, they also have 8 Kart. Really good series. Good example, right? Okay, yeah, they know what they're doing. All right. So fair enough. Now, if they think that's a good rule, there's no way of justifying it. They're like, oh, it speeds the program up. No, it does not. It doesn't speed the program up. Yellow comes out, you make a call. Pretty simple deal. Okay? Especially when it's obvious. Like, this was obvious. Initially, I thought it was an accident. And then now knowing that it's on purpose, it pisses me off even more, this rule, because that rule promotes this kind of stuff. I said it before. If I raced at a track that had this rule, I'd spin a guy out every single night. Whatever. Just I get up, you get on a rubber down racetrack, right? And it happens, especially in late models. You just get up the guy behind you and just start spinning people out. Pretty soon you're gonna be like, you can't put me to the back. I didn't stop. Like, what? Like, I didn't stop. Pretty soon all of a sudden you win the race, and they're like, well, that ain't right. Well, no kidding. Your rule sucks, right? So they got to get rid of that rule. It's absolutely stupid. And this was a prime example of how stupid that rule really was. I don't understand why they have it. I do, because they want to be like the World of Outlaws and Lucas and all that. And that's where let's be honest. So you have that rule, and then they get mad at you if you police yourself. We get back to the whole Turbo deal, right?
Yeah.
Turbo policed it himself. He took it into his own hands. Now he's kicked out for a year. Well, pick your poison. You're either going to have rules or you're not going to have rules. If you ain't going to have rules, have a free-for-all. Just have boxing on the front straightaway. I don't know. I mean, it's going to happen at some point where somebody just literally gets out of their car and they beat the hell out of somebody because of this rule. It's going to happen. There ain't even a question about it. So with that said, should we have instant replay?
I mean, we talked about this, I think, in a former show. You run into the time constraint. I mean, if promoters would do the right thing and run 3 classes, I'm all for instant replay. Because there was an instant in Hibbing.
I'm going to stop you there. Most special events, right? Most big events, most of them have 3 classes or less. Right? So for that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying maybe every weekly race. I'm talking special events.
Yeah.
Let's take the Masters. Let's take the USA Nationals, all the World of Outlaw, all the Lucas. Let's be honest. They all have multiple camera angles. Every one of them, they have every angle. Now, I'm going to touch on this. I'll let you give your thoughts. But if it's an obvious call, you don't need to go to replay, right? They're like, hey, that's the call. I saw it. I know what happened. They don't review every single call in the NFL. They don't do it. They only review the ones that are questionable. But if the person's like, I don't really know what happened, they already have the tape. It don't take long to go to the tape. So sorry about that. I'm going to let you finish up your thoughts there.
No, I in the case of specials, I do. Especially look at the Masters. Like you said, you got drivers from Texas. They're coming in from all over. To get hosed on a call, I think we need the review. At the specials, like I said, regular nights, maybe not. What are your thoughts?
I think they need it. I think it absolutely needs to be there. The technology is already there, right? So you have a head judge. The head judge can sit where, some streaming platforms, they have like a broadcast booth where they have multiple cameras and they have a person in there running it. You can sit right there and be like, hey, I need to see that camera angle. Boom, I saw it. Call's made. Simple. Some tracks have 1 or 2 cameras, but they can quickly run over to that camera and say, I need to see this. It's not going to be on every single call. It's going to be maybe 2-3 times a night, probably more often than not. But that'll take it'll even the playing field. I mean, let's be honest, they played the replay on the freaking big screen at Cedar Lake. I mean, the guy, all they had to do was look up and go, yep, that was the call. I mean, even Chris Steppen said it. He's like, yeah, 28 jumped to 7X, but if you remember, they don't make judgment calls here. He knew sitting in the booth, like, and he's not going to get involved with that deal. But
well, he was quick to say on both of those Mars incidents, and he didn't feature. Jimmy didn't mean to do it. I didn't
think he did either. I didn't think he did either, right?
Well, I didn't either.
With the AnvilLink deal, I don't think that was intentional. And from what I understand, he went down to Nick and said, "Hey, my bad. Sorry, I got into it." I heard he apologized to Nick. That's what I heard. So that one, I think he just clipped his right rear and just kind of turned him around. Probably a racing deal. The one with Jesse, when I initially saw that, I'm like, he just picked up a push, because I'm like, I couldn't fathom in my mind him doing something like that. I mean, especially to somebody in an MB. Now, there's rivalries out there. People don't have your car. You don't like the guy. I get it. But somebody that has your equipment, that just, I didn't see that happening. But when I found out that was the case, I was like, that is just crazy to me. So, is there going to be retribution, right? I mean, you take a guy like Jesse Glenz, he's fast. I mean, if you hit somebody, you have to be fast enough to get away from him, right? Do you think there's, if you're Jesse Glenz, do you give him any slack now? I mean, if you're racing, you just kind of door him every time you get by him, throw the right rear quarter panel at him, pinch him into the tires. I mean, I would. I promise you that. In fact, I'd probably stuff him, to be honest. Somebody spins me out on purpose. When I'm running in the top 5 at the Masters and they admit, like, I dumped you, I spun you out on purpose, like, next chance I get, they're going to eat concrete. It just is what it is, right? Right, wrong, or indifferent. Like, that's what I would have did. There's no question about it. There's a few people that might verify that for you, that if they're listening to the show, but, that's one of the things. You start roughing people up. And again, I don't know the whole backstory here. I don't know it. Evidently, there's big drama in Wisconsin. I don't know, right? But the fact is, if Cedar Lake's not going to make a call on that, kind of is Jesse Glenz, in your opinion, do you think he's the kind of guy that'll take it into his own hands and make him pay?
I don't. And if he's smart, he won't, because the budget's just not there. I mean, you don't.
I'd agree.
When you're a lightweight, you don't get into a fight with a heavyweight. So cooler heads will prevail. I mean, how often are they going to see each other now? Maybe a couple of Challenge Series races, a few nights at the Nationals, a little bit of stuff in the fall. And then, well, who knows? No, I shouldn't say that, because Jesse's doing the USMTS deal. So, I mean, how often are they going to see each other? So, I think cooler heads will prevail. Like I said, maybe they kissed and made up today. We have no idea. But
and pretty much every time they do see each other, we had a big show.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So there is that.
Well, and fans, I'm just going to tell the fans, this is a great time to comment too. We want to hear what you have to say. Watch the video here. You've seen it. Let us know what you think. This is kind of a hot topic. Like I said, there was a lot going on, a lot of conversation on Sunday and Saturday after this happened on Friday at the Masters. And
let's recap it, right? So here's the facts. Evidently, there's some kind of feud going on between the 28 and 7X. Don't know what it is. Okay, that's that. I'm out of that realm. Number 2 is the 28 intentionally spun him out, right? And openly told him that, I'm sick of the way you drive. I spun you out on purpose. Told him that. Number 3, they got the no-fault caution rule at Cedar Lake. So Jimmy didn't even get penalized for it, right? Them are the facts in the deal. Opinions are opinions. Give your opinions and tell us what you think. I was shocked. I'll just put it that way. Now, that leads to another thing I was shocked about with the Masters. Okay, we got a fan question of the week brought to you by Cowboy Up Racing, Shane Hall. Check him out on Facebook, who incidentally got his 4th win of the year this year. He went up at the Gondikla Speedway. He's been winning a bunch of races in that Midwest mod. But this one's from Joel. Where was Ashley Anderson? Right? Ashley Anderson was 4 for 4 at Cedar Lake with his mod. He's already beat Jake Tim. He's already beat Buzzy Adams. He's already beat, a lot of these guys that kind of bounced in. Dan Ebert was there a week ago. He beat him, right? He's been super fast, okay? Now, give your opinions on, if you have any thoughts first on where you think he was. I heard a little rumor here. I'll get to that. But what's your thoughts on Ashley Anderson not racing there? Now, let's go this way. When he runs there regularly, he's running his full WISSOTA stuff with WISSOTA tires. At the USMTS deal, they had to put on American racers, maybe a little bit of a different setup deal, right? So there is some change, but a regular night racing's $500-600 to win, maybe. This was $3,510,000, right? So to me, I was kind of baffled. I'm like, well, I mean, I don't really get it, right? If you're if you are there racing pretty much every Saturday for 500-600 to win, and you don't come for 10 grand to win, especially when you're the guy winning, that don't even, I just don't get it, right? So any thoughts on that?
My thought is Ashley Anderson was celebrating 20 years of marriage, and he brought his wife on an extensive 20-year trip Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Had to be a dozen roses a day delivered to the hotel. Had to be. What do you think?
Right? He's a family guy. So I heard a rumor. Okay. Now, I know that being on the promoter side of things, that at different special events, tracks have paid drivers to come to their show, right? They're like, we'll give you extra tow money, we'll pay your way in, we'll give you a couple $100. I mean, we want to get the big names there, right? That's a common deal in series, try to get the talent there, right? The USMTS is supposed to be the elite mod drivers in the country, the number one touring series for modifieds in the country, right? Huge hype this year, lots of big money, 5,000 and 10,000 to win races, lots of big money on the line. They have, all that. They got a huge point fund at the end of the year. They got a big brand, a lot of sponsorships. They got all this stuff going on. Do you think there's a chance that Todd Staley paid Ashley Anderson to stay home? Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Think about this now. These are the elite mod guys. Ashley Anderson is the top WISSOTA guy in the area, right? They look at the power rankings. Ashley Anderson's number one. They're scared of him, right? And they're like, it could wreck our brand coming to this race, having 60-plus cars, USMTS, guys from all over the place, and having just a WISSOTA regular guy whoop their asses 3 nights in a row. That could hurt their brand, right? That could make it to where traction fans would be like, USMTS ain't nothing special. I mean, Ashley Anderson just smoked them. Do you think they paid Ashley Anderson to stay home?
Oh boy, and I guess I got to back up a little bit and say, what are they doing? They out scouting, I guess, like you said, the power rankings, they carry a lot of clout. But other than that, are they out scouting like a pro team? Like we're scouting the weekend, the track we're going to the next weekend, who's hot, kind of thing.
I know the US.
I don't know.
Came to Minnesota, right? They came to Minnesota. They came to Alex. They came to a couple tracks there, and I think Atkinson won one. I think Gertis won. I think Sobraski won. Pretty soon they're scared. They don't come to other than Deer Creek. They don't come to our area anymore, right? They're scared of the WISSOTA guys.
Now you're making a compelling case. It seems odd, but hey, crazier things have happened.
Yeah, I might have to do some research on that because that's the only justification I have because Ashley Anderson's the man, and for him not to be there racing for that kind of money, I figured maybe there's some truth to that. I don't really know. Again, I have no facts on that. That is just pure speculation there. So let's get to it. Some time for some who's hot and who's not, brought to you by our friends over at L&M Radiator. And Puka, what do you got to say about the folks at L&M Radiator?
All right. So I'm talking to you graduates, whether you're just a recent college graduate or recent high school graduate. And let's face it, some of you college graduates, you're graduating at 20 now because you're the post-secondary option and you get, you're at 18, you got your AA, your high school degree, and all of a sudden you're done at 20. You don't really know what you want to do. You're going to take some time to figure it out, and that's okay. You're young, all right? So you still need a job, right? You need to do something, and why not get a good job, come up here where the racing's great, build some relationship with some good people, family-owned business, and get some experience. You recent college grads, if you haven't found anything yet, Mesabi.com, M-E-S-A-B-I, Mesabi.com. We'll have it in the show link, or in the show notes, the link in the show notes. This is a place where you, like I said, again, build relationships. And Ryan, as you're going through life, as you get to know people, that helps. And why not get to know people in the right places? Like you said, a good family business like L&M Radiator. So for those of you college grads, get your application if you're looking for a good job. They have all kinds of them. They had 30-some positions open just a couple of weeks ago. And like I said, you high school grads, they said they'll hire you. They'll train you. They'll get you pointed in the right direction for what they need you to do for them. So it's Mesabi.com. Once again, go down in the show notes and we'll have the link there. Jump you right over. You can see what they got available.
Absolutely. So who do you have? I guess let's start with who's hot, Puka. Who do you got?
Well, we talked a little bit about Chad Finkbone losing one last week, but he picked her up again on Saturday night, and he's had a hot several years. He just keeps thumping. Tyler Kittner again, another guy that we've talked about, just keeps chugging along. And Jake Radeski, like I said, Thursday win, Friday win, looking impressive. You know, and he's had some pretty good runs in the Challenge Series too. So Jake is definitely heating up here in late June. How about you? Who you got?
That was good to see. So I have, first of all, I have Cole Searing. So Cole Searing has won 3 of his last 4 races. He ran extremely well on the Challenge Series swing out west. He didn't run the full Challenge Series, but he got 3rd at Granite City, and then he got a 4th, and he got a 5th. So I mean, he ran good in the Challenge Series stuff, needless to say. So he was up front. 6 podiums in the last handful of races here. I mean, he's got, I believe, 7 wins on the year already. And Sunday night, he actually got put to the back early, questionable call. I think it was the wrong call, but it is what it is. He got put to the back. He came from last to second, and he drove by Becker and Ward and all that to do it. He was impressive. So Cole Searing's number 1. Now, Tony and Troy Liker, I'm going to put a pair of brothers there, combined, 13 wins, 6 seconds, 2 DNFs. So 19 top 2s and 2 DNFs. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. These guys are out west in Wyoming. They have the Mountain States Modified Tour, which is a 4-night swing this week. And I'm telling you, keep an eye on these guys. They are flat out studs behind the wheel. And then WISSOTA Street Stock Racing as a whole. I mean, it has been unbelievable. That Steffes Street Stock Tour has been just incredible. I mean, dramatic finishes here the last couple nights. I mean, bankboarding for the win and craziness. And then they had a special event over at KRA, at Jeff Disdahl Memorial, that was 31-18 to win. They're getting over 30 cars at all these, and I'm telling you, the racing, it don't matter if it's muddy, rubber, 1 lane, cushion, dry. They're racing all over the racetrack. They're up on the wheel, and it's a hell of a lot more fun than watching all the other classes combined. So I'm going to put Street Stock Racing and WISSOTA on top of the list. So who's not? Who do you got?
Well, Pat Dorr, pretty quiet at the Masters. Didn't hear his name a lot. Turbo, Ricky. I mean, Ricky was in the last chance qualifier on Thursday night. Dillard, not hearing his name a lot. And then this Dave guy from Illinois, who this Ryan Aho guy's helping. I mean, he just can't get to victory lane.
Easy now, bridesmaid. We got another second. We'll talk about that later. So, all right. So that's a good one. I'm not going to live that down. All right, I got to make him a little faster. So I'm going to start with Jeffrey Massengill. Okay, in his first 6 WISSOTA races, 3 wins, 3 thirds. He was off to a great start. We're like, man, this is his year. Now, in his races since then, the next 13 races, 1 win that he got by default because top 2 took each other out, right? 1 second, 1 fifth, only 3 top 5s in the last 13 shows.
Ooh. Not
good. Now, some of it's DNFs, I get it, right? But let's face it, I'm just looking at straight up numbers. It has not been a good stretch for the 6M. It's time for him to get back at it, right? So he ran good at Fergus last year at the King of Dirt. They're going to Fergus this Friday night. They got some regular shows around, I think Thursday, Saturday, probably Sunday. So he'll be racing a lot more tracks that he's familiar with here. Let's see if the 6M can turn around because he has not been good as of late. Jeff Kraus, okay? That's another one that I have on here. I mean, literally, he has a couple wins on the year. He's got, just in the last few, a 9th, 2nd, 14th, a DNF with a 13th where he spun out a 7th, chucking some elbows a little bit too much. Kraus, you want to be in the top 10 in the power rankings, okay? All right, I want to see some top 3 finishes, right? Keep your nose clean, top 3 finishes. I expect to see the 29-star bounce back this week. Like, that 1 to go show sticker is supposed to make you fast. I'm not really sure. We're going to have to peel that thing off here, okay? Now, the next one I have on here, Shane Sabraski. Now, he won last week in Grand Rapids. Looked good. And I mentioned on the power ranking shows, yeah, he's winning. He's been fast. He's, but the car just looks like crap. Like, I think he's winning because it's Shane Sabraski. So last week, Puka, after Grand Rapids, they went to Ashland and then Proctor. He started front row and went backwards in both of them. Okay.
Ooh.
That don't happen 2 nights in a row. Then he went down to Cedar Lake, right? And he got 9th the first night. He didn't make the feature the second night. Then he got 19th the third night. Okay. No, last year, if you remember at this deal, he got 2nd, right? Yep. So he's just there. I think there's something wrong with that car. It just simply don't look fast. It doesn't hike up. It looks like a 2x4 going around the racetrack. Like the 7A has just been, not good. Hopefully he can figure it out. So that's who I have right there, Massengill, Kraus, Sabraski on who's not. Let's get to it. The last lap brought to you by Zuli's Race Engines and Puka. Zuli's, they parked in Victory Lane a bunch. So obviously get a hold of Frank. He'll take care of you. Here's some proof of that. Jake Knapper, a pair of wins in the super stocks, and keep an eye on the power rankings. He's making some noise. Justin Vogel, he parked it in Victory Lane. He's got a win in each of the last 3 weeks, including the Jeff Isdall Memorial for 31-18 to win.
Ooh.
Parker Anderson, 16 wins on the year. He won the Steffes race up in Grand Forks. I think he's got like 5 of 8 in the Steffes series. So he's been on fire. Aaron Blacklance, 4 straight wins in the Midwest Mod with Zuli Power. And Logan Salazar up at the Devil's Lake Speedway. He got win number 3 on the year as well. So pretty impressive resume right there. I mean, they don't lie. And Billy Christ, I'm going to give him a shout out. He came from 14th to 1st at Devil's Lake. And a little bit of a raw deal there. Yellow come out, and he got slid back some spots on a restart. He ended up not finishing in the top 3. Kind of, I think that got to his head a little bit, but he had a hell of a good run going there. So Zuli Race Engines, get a hold of Frank. He'll take care of you. Now, Puka, what's your thoughts on this Kyle Larson guy?
Woo! I'll tell you. I actually tuned in to the NASCAR race just a little bit yesterday. I was flipping through channels. All of a sudden, it's on. He's starting on the pole, or right up, or I shouldn't say he's starting on the pole. I think he did. But anyway, it was all about Kyle. It was an interview. That's what it was. I was flipping through when he was being interviewed. So I'm like, I'll put it on here. Now, one thing I do have to say is thank you so much, World Racing Group, Lucas, everyone, for not doing these stupid stages and not doing a chase. Like the points title shows consistency through the year. And, but yeah, was it 4 in a row for Young Money? Just incredible. And he's at Huset's right now.
Yep. 4 in a row, 3 points races. One was a non-points race, so it don't really matter. Just $1 million, no big deal. Yeah. So I mean, no, who's counting, right? That's just money, just no big deal. But Kyle Larson, I mean, it's been just keeping an eye on that guy. I mean, he's probably the best that's ever strapped into a race car. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Now, another thing that happened over at Cedar Lake, Tyler Cater, a young gun in the modifieds. He's won several races over the past couple of years. He actually got burned really bad. He came in hot. I think he rolled his nose underneath in the heat race. They're getting ready for the B main, and it sounds like they were going to check the fluid. The cap blew off, and it burnt him all over the place, face, arms. And he's getting medical attention right now. Still a couple days later. It's going to be kind of a little bit of a road there. There's different prognoses there, but I know it was in the eye area. I don't know if I don't think it hurt his vision, but it's still in that healing stage where it's like too early to tell on some of this. So we just want to give our thoughts and prayers out there to Tyler Cater. Fast recovery for him. Hopefully he can get back after it. And just a reminder to all the racers, this happens a couple times a year. It really does, where somebody pops a cap and they get burnt. Remember Steve Arpin? I don't know if you remember that. That happened to him down in Florida. Yes. I don't think he was popping a cap. I think the hose came off. I'm not sure. But needless to say, it was hot coolant is what it was that burnt him really bad. So if you got to check your coolant, what I recommend is a big blanket or a big towel. Put it over the cap so kind of as a guard. So if it does pop off, there's something to kind of block it. But, when it's really hot like that, you really shouldn't be pulling the cap off anyway. But, if you're trying to get out there, I guess I've seen people do it. Not real smart. You just got to be safe. And it's easy to forget. We're in that time of the summer right now where cars get hot, and hopefully this can be a lesson and nobody else has this happen. So I got some additional shout outs here. Is there any quick shout outs that you want to give? And then I have a handful of shout outs that I want to give just on some people had some pretty good weeks here.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention Jordan Talixon. He runs over to that South Dakota swing. Runs with, we talk about Jeffrey Massengill not dodging competition. Jordan Taliesin goes out, runs the swing out South Dakota. Then he toes east and he goes to the Masters. And I remember him being there last year. So kudos to you. You're not dodging competition, trying to get better. Good for you.
3 wins too. He's got 3 wins this year. Yep.
Yeah. So what do you got?
So I got a few here. So the first one is KRA Speedway in Willmar, Minnesota, and the entire racing community. So I just love memorial races. I don't love when we have to have them because that means somebody passed, right? But Jeff Isdall, who was a fixture in Willmar, They did a lot for it. His daughter, Sarah, they've been heavily involved with dirt track racing in the area. They put together a memorial race. They packed the house. They put a ton of money on. I think it was like $14,000 raised for this deal. $3,118 to the winner. They had over 30 cars. I think it was over 35 street stocks. Hell of a race over there. So congrats to them on a job well done. Kevin Burdick, I called it last week on the Superstock Power Rankings show. He tied Shane Sabraski for the win counts in Superstocks at 10. Bob Broking, he got a pair of wins this week. So not Johnny Broking, who got 2 last week. Dad Bob Broking parked in victory lane twice. Mike Belfi, did you see that one? Mike Belfi.
Superior. Gondik, yes.
Yep, Gondik. He started 3rd row, too. Like, when I saw him, like, okay, Mike, but he started in the front. No, he started 3rd row. He drove by them and killed them by a straightaway. Yeah. Like, he just thumped them. And Jody won that night, too. So, really good night for Team Belfi. Team Canada got it done. Shane Edginton, he finally hit pay dirt. $4,000 to win race out at the McLean County Speedway in Underwood. Another one of those right place, right time deal. Eric Moss was leading. Becker was running second. And the corner before in 3 and 4, Eric Moss got into a lap car, went down through the infield. Becker got to him. They come down into 1, and I just simply could not see the video. I've heard differing reports, but somehow, some way, some shape or form, the 44 got turned around. 12 got put to the back, so they must have felt that Becker got into him. I didn't have good enough view. I watched it about 10 times on my phone. I just not good enough view for me to really see that. But needless to say, he got put to the back, and when 44 came around, he did roll his nose under. So on the next restart, he was done, and that left the lead to Shane Edginton, who finally got one in victory lane. Another guy here who has not raced a late model since 2017, Harry Hansen, getting it done at Hibbing. 4 races back in a late model, and he's already in victory lane. He started in the front row, top dominant, but he had a good hot rod there. Incidentally, that one punched his ticket to the AFCO Race of Champions as well, so he's in that. And then Justin Schmidt, we'll touch on this a little bit. So Justin Schmidt, he actually a pair of wins over there in Wisconsin, but Brett Swedberg got it done at Shawano, and Bert wanted us to note that he actually had a tribute body on. He sent a picture of Brett Swedberg, who has back-to-back wins, both him and Schmidt back-to-back in Eastern Wisconsin. And I'm like, well, that's a number 7. Why? Like, I don't get it. Who's that? He's like, well, that's Swedberg. So he was driving a tribute car because it was Hall of Fame night at the Shawano Speedway. Ed Bertram was a car owner back in the 80s, owned several cars. Jeff Tilke was the driver of the number 7. So they had a tribute body on for him. And Bertram got inducted into the Hall of Fame. There was another guy as well. I don't have it in front of me, but this Bertram owned cars. He owned Gold Star Racing, which was kind of like Dirt Track Supply, the Trackside Supply, GSR Karting. So heavily involved, but pretty cool deal to put a tribute body on Hall of Fame and park in victory lane. That's kind of cool thing to have done there. So, and then Clash on the Creek, just a little touch on that. So that was a 10,000 to win race this past week in Eastern Wisconsin. I watched the feature, Puka. Last year, it was a snoozer. It was just one lane, dry, crappy. The track was really good. It was good. There was a top. There was a bottom. Johnny Whitman, and Bert said that he has 6 straight championships. He's not racing for points this year at 141. So this guy can wheel a car. I watched him, but Mighty Mike Mullen was all over him. I mean, he did everything he could except throw the kitchen sink at him to try to win, but $10,000 richer, Johnny Whitman getting it done. And I think that's all I got there. And you talked about Huset's a little bit, a little something different going on over there tonight, too.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. They had the governor in attendance. And I remember back, in the mid-2000s, they used to have the Governor's Cup in North Dakota. So we'd be going to Cedar Lake, and there'd be haulers going to Mandan. And then we'd be coming home, because we lived in Montana at the time. We'd be going home, we'd see all these haulers. We'd see Brad Stang coming by, and we'd see the late Johnny Sites coming by. And it's like, gosh, can't you guys pick it every weekend? I don't know if they ever actually got the governor at the Governor's Cup out there, but this is the kind of thing, we talk about promoters and racetracks and everything, there's not a lot of political clout or a lot of political backing at a racetrack. So I think it was really smart, and of course the owner, we all know, Todd Kearing's got a few bucks there in Houston, but she, as a matter of fact, I just saw it before we jumped on, she was up on the flag stand facing the crowd, gave a little speech, but it's kind of cool. And it's kind of cool that she was willing to do it. And it was cool that they invited her. And, I like I said, I just think it's good for racing to because there's a lot of times that politics get involved with racing because it's in a fairgrounds or it's publicly owned land or something like that. And so I thought it was a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think more of that stuff needs to happen. Depending on what state you live in, the race fans may or may not want the governor there, right? So let's just be completely honest. But he moved his businesses out of Minnesota to South Dakota.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, because they told him that they had to shut down and they couldn't be working and they had all kinds of stuff. He's like, screw it, I don't need to be here. I'll just move my stuff to South Dakota, be done with it. So there's a little bit of that going on there as well, but pretty cool deal over there in Huset's. And, let's talk just briefly about that. So sprint car fans, right, here's what's going on. Huset's is racing tonight. It's Monday night. We're doing the show. Tuesday, you're seeing the show, right? So Monday, Tuesday, they're at Huset's. It's 10,000 win Monday, 30,000 win on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Queering owns both these tracks. So that's Jackson they're going to on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 10,000, 10,000, and 50,000 to win on Saturday. Now, they threw some bonus money at this if you win the finale at both. So if you win Tuesday at Huset's, if you win Saturday at Jackson, you get $100,000 bonus. So it could be 180,000 to win two races. And if you sweep it all, it's 210 grand you can put in your pocket. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'll be really paying attention after tomorrow night to see if that guy can win again on Saturday. So pretty cool deal for sprint cars in, I guess, cool. Western Minnesota and South Dakota. So
yeah, they said it's the busiest swing of the year. I think they said they're racing 12 nights and 14 days here. So they're really up on the pump here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned Bob Broking punched his ticket to the Race of Champions. So in case you forgot, you've been to the WISSOTA 100, right? So they have it's called the AFCO Race of Champions. And it used to be where all the track champions, right, from all the different tracks raced in a race, right? Well, then they had the whole split, right? The first split was when they went from just the WISSOTA 100 at Cedar Lake. It was originally Marshfield, then it was Cedar. And then they went, well, this ain't quite fair. There's too many cars and just this whole stupid, not everybody can get a trophy deal, right? So the first thing they did is had two features for the modifieds at Cedar. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I remember that. I remember that.
So then they're like, well, that ain't good enough. Let's just go ahead. This ain't fair for the people in South Dakota. Well, that ain't fair, right? IMCA does not have two Boone Super Nationals. They just don't do it, right? They don't do it. So they decided we're going to have a Western 100. So then it was Cedar Lake and Aberdeen. So all this happens, and then there's the split with Cedar Lake, right? And I'm not going to get into all that, but there was a split. So now it's back to one WISSOTA 100, kind of, because they still have the legendary 100 at Cedar Lake. Well, they can no longer do the track champions. Why? Because not all the track champions go. So now they have a qualifying night. And I think it started this way first. It was a Pabst Blue Ribbon qualifiers.
Yes, I remember those years.
Yep, they had those. So
early 90s.
Early 90s. And they went back to that format where now it's the AFCO Race of Champions qualifier. So every track in WISSOTA has a night, and if their drivers win that particular night, they get to represent that racetrack in the Race of Champions at the WISSOTA 100 at the I-94 Sure Step Speedway in Fergus Falls in September. Now, here's the question I have for you. So AFCO sponsors this deal, right? I'm just going to call out WISSOTA. I call a spade a spade. It is what it is. No hard feelings, whatever. Fix it, okay? Now, I'm looking. I've had drivers ask me, when are the Race of Champions qualifier races? And they want to know this because these particular races are draw, redraw, okay? Some drivers, if they're running really good, they're point average, and if they get 2-3 heats, they're starting 8th, 9th in the feature. They look forward to these races because it's an opportunity for them to redraw and maybe have a good starting position in the feature for once, right? So they're looking for that. And they finally got them online, but it's hard to find. You have to go to the website. You have to search for it. In my opinion, they should be promoting every single week on their social media. They should be promoting AFCO Race of Champions night here. It's AFCO Race of Champions qualifier night here. That should be promoted. The other thing that should be done is everybody that wins these races, why isn't there pictures and a little bit of hype up like, so-and-so, Bob Broking, Tyler Kittner, they punched their ticket to the AFCO Race of Champions. Promote this deal, right? They don't do any of that. It's just mind-boggling to me. So hopefully they can maybe fix that a little bit, because if I was AFCO, I'd be like, what are we getting for our money here? Yeah, every track has the night, but they don't They really don't even get talked about by anybody. So
yeah, I was at Hibbing Saturday night. Now Fleischer did a good job of announcing it, but going into it, I do this little thing every week. It's called the One to Go Show, like 10,000 views last week. No big deal. YouTube, Facebook, podcast, everything. I had no idea, and we haven't even talked about it. It's
Nope.
we haven't. I know the format stuff, but we haven't talked about, or maybe they should do it as a mid-season, and then, like I said, do the draw redraw. Do it as your mid-season championship. I don't know, but very good point you're making. They should be promoting it, and it, I'm sure the drivers know, but the fans don't know that there's a little extra incentive, to go after this thing.
And quite honestly, this whole deal needs to be fixed, right? Because after we give some bonus money, but the payout once you get past like third is horrendous. Like a lot of drivers, they'll make 4 or 5 laps, they'll do a little testing for the feature, they'll just pull off. They're like, we it's not even worth staying out there. I would like to see them actually do some marketing, promoting, get more sponsors, and make these like prestigious, make them actually pay good, make it so the racers that make the show, they actually want to race the race, right? Because right now they're looking at it like, well, if I start in the front, yeah, we're going to give it. But if I start 12th and 14th, we'll make a few laps, we'll test a little something for the feature, we'll pull off. So I think that they need to they have an opportunity here to make something really cool, and I think they need to do more with it. So our picks of the week, and just a quick recap here. I think it was a few of us each had one. I think Keith had 2. Did you have 2? I don't have it in front of me here, but a couple people had 2. I think it was Jeff and Keith each had 2. I think me, you, and Bert each had 1.
Yeah.
Keith had 0. I think that's what it was. And the big news, okay, I'm still leading, not by much. Bert's right on my heels, right? But Keith is out of the cellar. He's no longer last. Keith was last up until like literally this last week, and I was giving him crap because you passed him. He's now tied with you, and Pete has now taken over the cellar dweller spot there. So kind of interesting. We'll post our picks right here so everybody can see them. We're going to pick the Gopher 50, the World of Outlaw late model stuff, which is the Firecracker 100 up at Lernerville. We're going to pick the World of Outlaw sprint cars all week long here. So you'll see our picks here. But sure bet. Let's go with our sure bet of the week. Puka, who's your sure bet of the week?
I am going on a limb, race fans. I am going on a limb. There's this little new series called the SRX, and they are racing at Eldora this weekend. And I am going with a guy you may have heard of, Tony Stewart. I think he has a slight edge at Eldora. I'm going on a limb. What do you think, Ryan Aho?
I think that Jeff is smiling right now, right? Because he's been on me like, man, that SRX deal, it's pretty cool. I think it's going to be good. I'm like, this thing's stupid. Wrong time. I didn't even talk about it. Out here, you bring it up. I'm like, Jeff's got to be laughing right now. Yeah, I don't know what I think about that whole deal. Just, there's so much racing online already that I have no interest in watching it. I heard some people do. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm going to go with Bert's pick first. Bert picked Justin Schmidt to win the Scheffler Tribute Night up in Plymouth. He has back-to-back wins. Really should have had 3. There was a last lap altercation 3 weeks ago, so he could have 3 in a row. But Justin Schmidt red hot up in Plymouth, and I think that's a pretty good payout up there as well. Now, I'm taking Brandon Overton to win the Firecracker 100 up at Lernerville. I was not really sure. I was kind of looking through making my picks here, and I was like, where's he going? And I looked at his website and it said Lernerville. I'm like, I don't know who can beat him there, right? Maybe Madden, maybe Bishop forgot how to win, so I don't really think him. So I think Brandon Overton's going to get it done. That's my pick up in Lernerville. So let's talk about the events. There's a lot of racing going on. I'll start with Bert. We'll give him a little love first. He's got a few races here he's looking forward to, and so he has the Scheffler Tribute race in Plymouth. That's his number 1 must-see event of the week. That's Friday night. That is actually on FYE.TV. Dirt Race Central's carrying that. The Dirt Kings race, which is the Discount Shop Towels Dirt Kings Tour. Nick Anvelink's the point leader for that. They're going for their second night of the year over at the Big Half Mile in Shawano. I have not seen if that one is being streamed, but even if it's not streamed live, Mike's video does a hell of a job. He's there every single week. He posts it on Facebook so you can watch it a day later. So thanks a lot, Mike, for that. And then he's got the Land of 10,000 Lakes 10K on there. Now, if you haven't heard of this yet, right? If you're living under a rock, IMCA, I know we're Wissota country here, okay? But IMCA Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a big deal. So they're racing Thursday at Princeton, Friday and Saturday at the North Central Speedway in Brainerd, Sunday at the Granite City Motor Park in Sauk Rapids. All of these will be on imca.tv. I'm pretty sure Dirt Race Central, I think you can get to it through both. So watch drc.tv. So they're having IMCA mods, IMCA stock cars, and IMCA sport mods. Now, the first 2 nights, it's $5,000 to win for the mods and the stock cars, $2,500 to win for the sport mods. On Saturday and Sunday, $10,000 to win for the mods and the stock cars, $5,000 to win for the sport mods. Unbelievable pay. And I know there's a few drivers coming up. You know, I know Steve Arpin's coming.
Oh, he is. Oh, right.
He's coming up for that. I know that Mike Mullen's coming over. There's several people coming from Wisconsin over there. Looking at a few things here, Dave Kane has it on his agenda. Matt Gilbertson has it on there. I believe Justin A-Strike, a Wissota, Central Minnesota guy, he's got it on there. And then I saw this guy, I don't remember, his name escapes me, 20RT, Ricky Thornton Jr.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy, he's talking about, because they're racing, of course, in Deer Creek Friday, Saturday for the Gopher 50. He's planning on just bringing them on and heading up and doing Sunday at the Granite City Motor Park. So there's going to be some extreme talent, some good racers. I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Have you heard anything regionally? Like, are we going to be kind of stealing, poaching some cars out of our local group? Or
no, I haven't. Which blows my. See, it's so much different, right? The IMCA deal in Wissota, you know, really to compete in that deal, you got to have a crate, and then there's some different things with shocks and tires, and there's some different things. So some guys, you know, have already run both, so they have it. So it's a little bit different deal. I was talking to Brokings about that. I'm like, why on earth are you not going to that, right? I mean, why would you not? When there's that kind of money on the line, get a crate, put it in, run some IMCA stuff. Why wouldn't you? Now, if they do this again next year, I'll put money on it that there will be more drivers supporting it. I heard rumors that Timmy Johnson might be running a stock car in that deal. He might be running more than that. Who knows? He's a local guy. Sabraski doesn't sound like he is, which surprises me. I figured for sure because he's got a lot of laps around all 3 of those tracks, right? So if there was a guy locally that was a Wissota guy, like Shane Sabraski, to me would be like, why on earth would you not be racing that? You know, he's got great sponsorship there. Why would not? I just don't get it. He even has a whole different car running, but I don't know. I mean, they're going to get plenty of competition. It'll be good. I really hope I hope everything cooperates because, you know, when they throw that kind of money at the sport, you want to see it go well, right? Let's be honest. So hopefully that goes well. The other one that I have here is I had that one on my list, so I talked a little bit extra about that. Then I got LaSalle, which is kicking off the UMP Summer Nationals Hell Tour on Wednesday. I'm going to that. You mentioned Dave, right? Who got second. He got another second. He's like really good at second. But like second is stupid. We got to get rid of second. Okay. So we got double features over there for the street stocks. So he's going to run. He got 2 chances to park the street stock in Victory Lane. And it turns out the late models are the support class for the street stocks at so I'll probably stick around, watch the late models too, and of course the UMP mods. I'll pick my winner right now, Nick Hoffman. I'll take it. Okay,
so going out on a limb.
I'm going out on a limb, so I'm excited for that. And then the third one is I'm going up to North Dakota this weekend. Devil's Lake. I'm actually gonna make my first trip over to the Devil's Lake Speedway. They have the Golden Hammer. They got 3 NLRA late model races this weekend. And last year, I think you remember the night that Shaw and Strand got together and it was questionable? That was at the Golden Hammer. So that race last year, Brody Troftgruben won from the 5th row. Strand got put to the back on a bad call, came from dead last to second. So I've watched plenty of racing there. That is on Darn. If you can't make it, there's on Darn TV. And that's really good racing. I'm excited. I've never been there before for a race, so I'm excited to get out there. What do you have?
Well, to go for 50, like we talked about, and there's an outside chance that I might be picking up Mommy down at the Mayo. So there's an outside chance I might be stopping in there. Now, one question I had really quick, you know, I know we're running out of time here, but in less than 30 seconds, has Deer Creek lost a little bit of its luster? I mean, it seems like 10 years ago, it was like it was like this, you know, and there was always news and always something, you know, it made me think about Deer Creek just a little bit. You feel the same way? Because I feel that.
I do.
And I don't know what it is, but it just.
Well, I think there's two things, right? Because they still have some pretty big shows, right? They got the Jamboree, they got the Harris Clash, they got the Gopher 50, they got all this stuff. But I think that Mississippi Thunder is a better racetrack, right? So, and that's kind of the Friday Saturday deal. They're kind of close to each other. So I think that for me now, Deer Creek is smooth black top to bottom, and if you like that thing, that's fine. It's clean, and there is good racing at Deer Creek. It's a great facility, right? But if you like that high intensity action, pounding the cushion, slide job, that type of deal, Mississippi Thunder's it, right? Okay. And the social media presence, like I literally never see anything online from Deer Creek, ever. Like and I see stuff all the time for whatever reason, and I follow both on Facebook, but I see a lot of stuff from Mississippi Thunder. So I think they're just putting themselves out there more. They're doing lives, they're more interactive, you know. So I think that because they're really going above and beyond on some of them things, Deer Creek's kind of just sticking with the status quo. And you know, they got it for sale. Right, the Deer Creek Speedway got posted for sale. Maybe they're just a little burnt out. Maybe they're just kind of like, you know, Mississippi Thunder. They're still on the growth stage of things. They're trying to make it better, better, better. Deer Creek's they've had a great thing for a long time, and maybe they're like, oh, we're just kind of burnt out with this deal. I don't really know the answer, but I think you're right. I would agree with that.
All right, yeah, because that's the kind of way I feel. But anyway, first time to Gopher 50 will be Lucas sanctioned. It's been Woo sanctioned for several years. Last year, it was either canceled or rained out. It was canceled due to COVID or rained out, so then you get to get that in. The Challenge Series race over at I-94. Looking forward to that. Now, the question is this a standalone race, or is there something else going on in the area? Because it just, man, that's tough.
It's a standalone race, but what's interesting is the NLRA races on Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So they race Thursday in Ada, and then Saturday they race in Devil's Lake, and Sunday they race in Grand Forks because they have the fair, right? So that at least is an open window to where maybe some of them Grand Forks guys, which it ain't real far, right, can make the trip down and maybe make it on over there. Hopefully we can see a guy like Edgerton, Gressef. Hopefully you can see a few of them guys make the trip down. I think you will on Friday. It should be good.
Okay, well that I'm a little more excited than. And like I said, Brainerd, that's pretty cool. And like I said, I am going to tune into that SRX race at Eldora just because it is on the dirt. You know, I watch a little bit of the stuff in Knoxville. Bloomer is right there in second on a restart. He tried to get up. He didn't really have a cushion because the car's a little bit different, but he tried to go high and get around Tony and got up in the marbles, fell back to like 12th. He ended up 6th. But the nice thing about the commentary, you've got Danica and you've got that Alan Bestwood that used to be with NASCAR. Remember, and he's got the great, I mean, like right away, it's like, who is this guy? I know this guy, you know? So you settle right in as a race fan if you watch a lot of NASCAR in the 90s. So the commentary was good, but I'm kind of just interested to see, like I said, I'm probably not going to watch a lot of their asphalt stuff, but, you know, I kind of am excited to see what they'll do at Eldora.
Did you see who got second at Knoxville in that deal?
No, I can't remember.
Haley Deegan, that chick, that Haley Deegan.
Yes, that's right. Yes. They were talking about it. Yes. Because Paul Tracy got knocked out. Andretti was right up there. You know, it's just funny seeing some of the names. You know, it's just like, oh my god. Oh, but yeah.
It was back. Jeff was raving about it, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Like, I'm not interested. We have too much racing already. So
the field spin. The field, you know, they only have like a dozen cars. You know, on a half-mile track like that, but. You know, like I said, I'm kind of that anti-establishment guy, so I really want to see Tony kind of drive it into NASCAR a little bit. But, you know, I mean, let's hope they can get through the year, you know, not like the XFL twice, and, you know, see what they can kind of do and they can improve maybe in the off season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So that's it. Any closing thoughts on episode 85?
No, just, you know, you have fun at LaSalle. Like I said, I'll let you know if I happen to make it down to Rochester there to Deer Creek, I'd like to go. And now you're telling me there's Grand Forks on Sunday. Geez, you know, that'd be kind of fun to do too. Catch a rare Sunday race out there. But no, that's about it. I just, you know, want to thank everyone, Dirt Track Supply, L&M Radiator, Cowboy Up Racing, Zuli's Race Engines, everyone at Gold Sports. So any closing thoughts on your part?
No, that's it. Get out, support your local racetrack, and cheer loud. They need a lot of passion at these racetracks. And, you know, there's a lot of streaming platforms. If you can't make it, jump online, watch something, because we all love dirt track racing. That's why we do it.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, like I said, please comment. You know, we talked about earlier about Donnie Schatz. If you got a great winning moment or just a great Donnie Schatz moment, comment on the Masters. We got the Mars deal. We got the the no fault spin rule. What was the other third thing we had?
Mars. Anderson.
Oh, and Ashley not showing up. Was he paid? You know, those are kind of some interesting things to comment on. Like I said, get out there and support our sponsors if you get a chance. We'll have them all down in the show links. And that's about it here. If you want to contact us, don't want to go show at gmail.com. Don't want to go show at gmail.com. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the One to Go show.